and welcome to the Golden Hour. I am Goldyn Duffy, your guest, and I have a real amazing and incredible and inspiring show for you today. I have an incredible guest. Zon Carvalho is a Brazilian-born fine artist currently based in Arizona. He creates vibrant street-style art, working in mixed media, including acrylic, aerosol, and paint markers, to name a few. His work explores the human condition, such as our fears, perceptions, and dreams. His years of studies and personal development have inspired his direction towards creating art to empower individuals to ask questions and create change in their lives. Zon has participated in several group shows all over the country, as well as solo shows in Florida, Colorado, and Arizona. I am super excited to introduce Zon, and I'm going to have him share some of his brilliance here with us today. Hello, Zon. Welcome.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Hello. Zon and I have so much fun together, don't we?
Yes. Very much looking forward for this experience as well.
I love when you meet people and it's like this instant comedic expression. Like you just start joking around and doing cartwheel emojis, and it's like, okay, I think I met someone that I'm on the same plane with.
I agree. Since the first conversation was like, giddy, talking about it. Oh, look at mine. Oh, look at yours. Hey, we like the same thing.
I know, and you leave the conversation just completely uplifted, and that's the whole that's the thing that I'm most excited about, is for people to feel our energy together and what we bring to the world. You have an incredible story that I knew I wanted to share on this show the second we started talking. And I love, one of the things that I always say is life is supposed to be fun. And you're like, life is supposed to be awesome. And we have such a connection in the way that we really want to live life to the fullest. And I love that about you.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to start with your story. So tell me about your childhood. What was your childhood like?
It was great. I mean, of course, right? Most people will hopefully say that. I grew up in São Paulo, Brazil. I spent a lot of time, São Paulo is one of the, largest city in the world. And I spent a lot of time, between city, country, and beach. So I believe that was a pretty balanced, like a combination of environments. However, the city part of it was something that was really stuck with me, through all of the years up until even now, I really enjoy, being from a place that is so metropolitan and big and vibrant, and there's so much movement and contrast, contrast, there's everything. And in Brazil, contrast is a really big thing, between classes. And so I grew up with a lot of that, a lot of contrast of environments, of perception. My childhood was pretty uneventful, if you will. No major traumas or deaths or accidents or moving to different places, anything like that. Had a pretty stable home. My parents were married until I was a teenager, and they're still best friends. So. Yeah, it was like my mom is the godmother of one of my dad's daughters. It's a very interesting dynamic, which was great to watch and observe and bring that into my adulthood also. Of that feeling of possibilities that people don't have to exit your life. Even if their paths have changed. And sometimes they really should exit your life. Because your paths have changed.
I know. I think you probably had, divorce can be so traumatic for kids. I think when you can see people navigate it in such a clean way and still remain friends, but know that their chapter being together is over, I think that's such a great message to people, going through divorce. It's like, how can we do this in such a way that we're not going to damage our children or traumatize them? So that's really cool. So when did the adventure begin for Zon? Because it seems like your childhood was pretty mellow. You had a lot of contrast and experience. I love the idea of experience and the different layers of what you got to be a part of. When did the real adventure, that adventure spirit of yours kind of wake up?
Well, even though everything seemed really good, like what I just said, I was a very free-spirited, individual, even at a very young age, to the point that when I was 18 years old, I was a freshman in high school. So I had gone through like 9 different schools. I got expelled of 4. I got held back 4 times. I was just like a total,
So wait. What
so
was the problem with school? Why did you have such a hard time with school?
yeah, I just didn't enjoy like the talking down to or being taught something. I'm much more an experiential,
Yeah.
individual, and I'm just full of life, and I just couldn't sit down for much longer. And like the complaint always was like, all we can hear is on the back of the class is, because I always had like a deeper voice, so. Yeah, it was just like a non-conformist, I was
Yes.
always like questioning authority, like why does it have to be this way? Why? I like, which that led to a lot of angst and anxiety and even anger, into my adult years, especially like in my early 20s.
I mean, what we expect of kids to just sit and listen all day is crazy. I have a super expressive granddaughter, and she's in kindergarten, and she's having a really hard time in school because that sitting and having to just listen all day, it doesn't come naturally to kids. They have to be programmed into it. And if you are a very energetic personality, it's so painful for you. And I wish schools would get better about letting kids be a little more expressive, and not
Right.
so compliant,
Yeah, right.
squashing their personalities, right?
And their brains, like fit in
Yes.
this mold or else. So I
Yeah.
always broke them all, and I really still do.
Yes.
One of the things that I really thrive on is change.
Mm.
Like so, like right now, I shaved my head and I'm bald. Like 2 months ago, I had a mohawk that was like up to here.
Oh,
So these things are always in flux. I'm wearing a red shirt today. Most of the time, I wear black. Some days I even wear white. So it's just like that, interest in continue to explore this like human experience, this human condition that we're all sharing, and I really want to show up conscious of it, of like really being like, it's just my body, it's just this experience at this moment, there's a reason for me to be here, so let's enjoy it, you know what
yes.
I mean?
Yes, and not get trapped inside this little box of monotony where you're just doing the same thing every day, wearing the same thing, having the same, just getting out and being like, okay, what is this like? And what if I shave my head? And I'm sorry I missed that mohawk because that sounded really cool.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram, you can see
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
those, but
Actually, now that you said that, let me just share your Instagram real quick because you're a super interesting dude. And I think people need to like check out what you're up to.
thank you.
All right, I'll just share it there, but go ahead.
I believe that is not a life of monotony. I believe it like is a choosing into a life of mediocrity.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like choosing to be less than,
Mm.
because I believe I was put in this earth to accomplish something. Is that in my ego? Maybe there's definitely a little bit of that in there, but I do have like this passion, this burning desire, inside of me to like get my word out, get my art out, speak my mind and follow my dreams, and empower others to do the same thing. It's like when a child wakes up in the morning, they wake up before the alarm, they're excited about the day, they're going to go outside. There's so much excitement in their lives, and because they're on purpose, they don't care, they're just live, they're excited to, oh, it's morning, let's go do stuff,
Yeah.
It's like all this abundance of feelings and opportunities, and then we grow up and we snooze like freaking 10 times. You go like, oh fuck, like, oh, I need some coffee, don't talk to me until I had, it's like whatever, it's like there's no excitement. You're not looking forward to going out and conquering the day, and just having fun and being challenged and being in love and creating art, or what I mean? It's like, who wants to look forward to commute? Like, willingly. It's like, oh my God, really?
You're choosing that?
Yeah, exactly. And and it's like, oh, I don't have a choice. You do, because I had times in my life where I did have to choose to commute and get real jobs and stuff, and man, that was miserable.
No fun, right? No fun.
No.
And you probably didn't create a lot of abundance from it, right?
Everything at that point is scarcity, it's time management, not into uplifting, growing, abundant time management. It's like chasing your ass, chasing your bills, being in fear. Oh my God, what is, I'm going to be late,
Totally.
and that angst, man, this just doesn't work, you
Yeah.
know?
No. And people sign up for it, for a lifetime until they can retire. And it's like, what, like there is other ways, especially now there's so many different ways to create income and express and to be creative. And I know you do so much of that. I want to come back a little bit because, and I know I don't know if you really want to share this, but I want to share that you were a former supermodel because that to me, that's like, I don't know, that's catchy.
Yeah.
My former supermodel Zon is going to be on today. But can you talk about that and like what is that where the adventure began? Is that where you started to kind of get out of your shell and be like, I'm going to do something different with my life? Was like that the beginning?
That was definitely like an outlet, of expression, of self-expression, right in the beginning. I was 16 years old in Brazil and got in the, people always told me, why don't you model and stuff and whatever. So one day, everything aligned. So I ended up with a portfolio, like a modeling portfolio, took pictures and stuff. And within 3 years, I was like, one of the best paid models in the country. I was like, a cover of magazines and like teenage stuff, catalogs or editorials, of fashion, that kind of stuff. And so it was like really fun and exhilarating, and
Amazing.
from that place, I end up in Japan, I end up like living in Tokyo for almost 6 months, like just having an incredible adventure. I saw myself in the middle of the Yoyogi Olympic Stadium, doing like the equivalent of like New York Fashion Week. It was like Tokyo, winter week of like fashion shows and models, 10,000 people, cameras tracking on the side, all of the things, and there is little 18-year-old Zon strutting along, what's up,
So did you like at that point, did you feel like I made it? Like
I was just literally having fun with it. You know what I mean? Like I knew that, my family like has achieved a lot of things and this was like very not what they were doing, in a way.
Yep.
So I was like really enjoying the excitement. And in that modeling world, there I am, in the pinnacle of it all, the best place in the world to get paid, to be exposed, all of the things, and the length of time that I was there, that was also significant, so that was fun, and the interesting part is that about halfway through that experience, I started questioning, like something that I had been doing for so many years now, it wasn't really that fulfilling, or that, I knew there was something else, what I mean?
Yeah. So so once the question started to pop up, was it like kind of like taking stock of your life and going, or were you looking ahead and saying like, where is this going to lead me to?
Yeah, I was like I saw myself in a set in Tokyo, this beautiful place, and I was dressed like a prince in some, snake skin suits.
All right, wait. Are there pictures of this on your Instagram? Because I really want
there are not. There's a picture of me on top of Mount Fuji on Instagram. I was doing it this Georgia.
I'm gonna need some of those pictures. I need to see this.
Right on. But I was there, and this is like 1988, and I'm doing advertising, like this photo shoot for water, and somehow this is like some kind of, royal kind of water. And I was like holding this tray with a bottle of water that looked ridiculous, dressed with this snakeskin shiny little outfit and stuff. And I was like, is this it? Really? Am I at my peak right now? This is the best, hands on. Being here, smiling in front of this camera, talking to all of these people, great, you're being compensated, but how hard is it to like, how hard was it that took me to get here? Now I'm smiling. Oh wow, that's full use of my potential right there.
So, I mean, how many people will do that though? Well, they will just do things because they're getting compensated, right, financially, but it's not really feeding their soul. It's a big leap when you're making good money and you've kind of made it into a world that's pretty recognized to say, you know what, this isn't working for me and I'm not fulfilled by this. That's to me, that's one of the coolest things that you've done.
Thank you. I've done that a lot, changed my mind.
Yes.
Because, like, I'm not a tree, you know what I mean? I can move. I can choose what I want to plant myself in, you know what I mean? Or ground myself for the moment in. you know?
Yeah, you've lived all over the place, right?
Yeah, I lived in several different places and many different lives,
Yeah.
like, so, and that is like the beauty of it. I feel that like at the end of this road of this experience, I want to look back at my life and have a good time remembering,
Yeah.
not regretting or wishing that or whatever. It's like, no, man, I showed up big and I did this and I did this. And can you believe that happened? It's like, brother, you were there, it's like, make a
Yeah.
cut, you know?
I'm living full out, right? Living to the extreme, like saying yes to everything. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to talk a little bit. We had discussed a little bit about your energy and the way that you are, and we were kind of joking around about ADD and ADHD, and I know there's a lot of people out there, a lot of children, a lot of even adults that have been labeled as something that is an energetic field that you have when you can, when you like to focus on a lot of different things and you don't kind of put yourself in a box, and maybe sometimes it can be difficult to complete projects, and I think a lot of that people experience is because of the label that they've been given and the detriment of that label in our society, when truly the energy that people have and being able to do a various amount of tasks is really an awesome thing. So
Right.
can you talk a little bit about, because I know you do a lot of things and I want to kind of get to all the things that you do,
Yeah.
but because you are expressing so much, how
Mhm.
have you learned to channel that energy to actually get your amazing stuff completed?
Well, when it all started, this whole labeling didn't exist.
Right.
So I didn't know that I had ADHD or ADD or whatever. I was just really interested in a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Can we call it that?
like, wow, this is great. And what happened, through the years was like almost like a sharpening of the distractions.
Ah,
Because that's like that constant need for dopamine, or the constant need for, or when things get hard, we switch. It's like all of a sudden a project is getting a little challenging. I go like, oh, I'll work over here. Oh, I'll go do that instead. Now, what worked for me was that I closed myself in a loop, so I could only do so many laps passing the same projects until I had to get them finished, because there were so many shiny balls all the time that eventually they got completed.
right, right.
So that worked. And then also it was the ability like to focus in what I wanted to do,
Mhm.
like what I wanted to create. I mean, I can be ADD like at a job, right? Because now I'm not like doing that anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not, oh, I think my phone is good. So I could be ADD like on a job that I'm like, bouncing around from things that don't interest me, and then none of them get done. And then you have this pressure around it that is like, oh, you're a failure, you didn't accomplish anything, somebody's mad at you about it, or you can set yourself up to win and put yourself in an environment that you actually enjoy going back to these tasks or these projects that you're working on. So
That's a great point. I just want to just hone in on that point right there, because that point is the reason why some people are labeled as this is because they're being forced to do things that they have no interest in, and it's hard to complete things that you feel bored with and you don't feel excitement about. So that was an incredible point that just
Mhm.
came to me. Thank you so much. So go on.
Absolutely.
Go
And
on.
and I believe that there is and now I'm like starting to realize that the things that I don't want to do, or the boring stuff,
Yeah.
like for me, boring stuff is anything with the Microsoft Word in front of it. Like
Yes,
Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I don't even know how to use Word.
totally.
And I can do anything on Photoshop. But I like
Yes.
what?
Yeah.
So those types of things, like how can I like put like my inventory on a spreadsheet, or order for my apparel company that is like, congruent, like that is where everything is set up in a proper way to be conducive of executing the job perfectly. Wow,
Yes.
look how boring that sounds. The whole phrase is just like, I'm like, can I go paint? Like literally, this is the pattern. But then
Yes.
I go, okay, well, who can do that with me or for me? You know
Yes.
what I mean? It's like it needs to be done because there is like a reward here is a business, so that there is expectations involved.
Yes.
So then you can like, learn how to recruit somebody or enroll somebody or pay somebody, or even if you can't do that, figure out a time that you're going to give yourself like 30 minutes to
Yep.
do all of the boring stuff, and that at the end of it, there's a treat,
I love
whatever that is, that reward system, but
Yes.
because that's the only way that I believe that I can expand and achieve these goals and this vision that I have of my life, is to surround myself with like-minded people and surround myself with people that actually care, not
Yes.
just that they're doing this because they're getting paid for it or whatever. They're doing this because they have that same vision,
Yes.
or they see the vision and they want to help you accomplish it, because only, man, when you achieve this, can you imagine blah blah blah, you know what I mean? They're enrolled on the longevity of this project and everything because it fulfills a part of them, so it's hard to identify them, because it requires for them to be vulnerable and you to be vulnerable, exposing this vision or this dream that you have about your life, that it sounds crazy in your head because it's so big, because it's and then you tell it to somebody else, they're like, oh yeah, no problem, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
I'll set you up, blah blah blah, and you're like, really? Was that easy? Wow, right on. What can you do for me? How
Yes.
can we work together?
Yes. And that's that co-creative part of the universe, bringing in people to support you and to connect with you so that you can build the dream that you are the one that has the vision for. So we get that alignment, right, with our energy fields, with people that are on the same plane. And then we create and express amazing things with each other instead of trying to do it all on our own. I love that. Can we talk about the painting behind you, because it's incredible, and I want to talk a little bit about your art and all the different modalities of what you do with art. So tell me what's behind you, because it's super interesting.
This painting is called A King's Heart.
Oh,
so and this number and this right here, like all of these words and letters and numbers and code and stuff. This is like the king's mission. This is his code of conduct. This is his duty. And I believe that the universe is always in balance. Always things. That's why there's a black and a white and a yin and a yang, and polarity is incredibly important for successful things to happen.
Yes.
And polarity in relationships, it's fundamental to achieving anything. In the most congruent, peaceful, harmonious way. So for that to happen, I believe that I have to rise up, the person that I am, or the energy that I put out in the world, of this like kinghood, like energy, this place that I know, what am I responsible for? Like what is my duty to be here? Is it to be less than? Is it to succumb to pressures and fears and stuff?
Yeah.
Or is it to empower others, or is it to like bring joy to others, or is it, what I'm saying, like to create a safer world for my kids and my partner, so that polarity, that's what this King's Heart painting is. Like there's energy, there's colors, there's vibrancy, and this guy is moving through the world, man, like fearlessly bold, like willing to die every day for what he believes in. Like, that's what I want to like to empower men, to get out there and live your purpose. Get on that edge and be willing to risk everything, most importantly, your life, for the safety, for the hold on, let me get this. Oh God, this is horrible.
You're good.
Like to empower it all, I mean, just like for the safety of your kingdom, whatever that kingdom looks like, whatever that place looks like. I mean, are you like really truly living on your edge? Are you really truly living in this place where, your partner, like a feminine energy, can like totally fully blossom and become and be sensual and change her mind, and all of the things that are like, looked down on because it's not responsible or proper or this and that, so that's what this painting behind me is. Is like this powerful heart, that is living its mission, that is living its purpose, and is like fearlessly just moving through the world, regardless of what the concept, like regardless of how in danger he may be, because he's supported, by the other side of that balance. It is his feminine partner that is there supporting, believing, nurturing, his heart, so he can get out there and just slay it, go conquer this world.
That's so beautiful. And how many men, if they take on this role and they think about their lives as a kingdom, I think there's a lot of men that are out there that just, go out and they make the money and they work hard all day and then they come home and they basically don't contribute. I've seen a lot of that. And especially if the mom is a stay-at-home mom, because the roles get kind of imbalanced there. Because, as stay-at-home moms, I feel like we're not recognized enough for all that we contribute to the family. And, even taking on that role and not having a role so much in the world is a huge thing for a woman. But when you're met with a man who recognizes his life as a kingdom and you as part of that royal piece that makes the whole thing flow, I feel like the energy is so different than I just have to go to work and make money and support my family. It's just a different, right? It's like rising to the occasion of being a leader in your world, right?
Absolutely. And that, I believe that there's a lot of that going on around now, like of this, this lack of polarity. I have nothing against women being powerful, getting out there, running her, dreams, her world, achieving, that is a masculine energy, like to get out there and conquer, take, hunt. This is that energy, and beautiful, Now, when we are together, switch into your feminine, so I can rise up to my masculine, and now we're not combating, there's no competition, it's like. And that allowance, only comes like with this pure communication and trust.
And trust, I was going to say,
absolutely. That there is no feminine energy that is going to surrender to a man that is less than her masculine energy.
So true.
Or her, divinity of her, like sovereignty. Like, step up, brothers. You know what I mean? This is your call. Step up. If you're having problems with your partner, it's not her fault. Like, what is it that you're failing to provide that is causing this emotional turmoil? That not only that, you're choosing to step into it.
Right. Like, if you're doing your best, you wouldn't feel threatened by her. Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. So I loved what you said about polarity. Let me see where we want to go from here. I want it to make sense. How do you, at this point in your life, do you meditate?
I love meditating. Yes. My goal is to do that daily. And most days I do that, and
I love that you said that, because so many people, especially the people with ADHD, claim that they can't meditate. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. I think that there's so many different modalities, of meditation. And then, it's not just sit down, be quiet, and try to quiet your mind. Oh my God, I can't think about anything. What time is it? It's been 5 minutes yet. I got to go to the store. I really got to pee too. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not meditating. You're just like sitting there, like going over all this stuff.
Thinking about it. Yeah.
But what has worked for me is journaling as a type of meditation, because that has allowed me to stay focused, into doing one thing. And I go into storytelling mode. I do affirmations in there. I can do storytelling, saying as if has already happened. Like, I'm so happy and grateful now that, I'm living in my dream house, or I am at this vacation that I always dreamt of, that I am financially free, whatever it is that you're not yet, but you're, aspiring to be, saying from that place that has already happened.
Yes.
And I can go really deep into that part, but the meditation part is that, some days I do put a guided meditation. You can calm down your mind. Somebody else can tell you something, and those are incredible. Like, put on headphones and get like a Joe Dispenza guided meditation,
all about it.
The work away from you, there you have guidance to walk through through this experience,
Yeah.
at the other end, there is always an aha.
Yeah, because you can that way you can rest and you can allow them to kind of lead you where you don't really have to. You just kind of like hand over the work, like
Yeah.
meditation when you're doing it in complete silence, which I am a proponent of. But it's surprisingly these last few years I don't do a lot of it because I really enjoy some sort of distraction for this monkey mind, even if it's just like a solfeggio frequency. I
Mhm.
just like something for my mind to focus on so I can really like drop in and let go and rest. And I think that's what guided meditations do for us.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that I can do one in silence.
No.
Like even in nature is possible.
Yeah.
Because there are sounds and stuff.
Birds.
And you
Yep.
can kind of be in that space. But yeah, that's what works for me. Journaling because I can be ADD with journaling.
Yeah.
I am grateful for this, and that. Oh, look at me! I'm in the future. I'm living my dream life. Oh, guess what? I have great health. I'm abundant. Like
Yeah.
all over the place. But
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because when you zoom out from that little chaos that you created in your journal, is that you now have created 20 minutes, 30 minutes of focus time that you're visualizing something that you're not yet at this now.
Yeah.
So then the rest of your body can become familiar with this new sensation that you're bringing in, and then you start to manifest it. So you start to see that outside in your life.
Yeah.
If it's not in balance, then your body's going to be like, well,
Yeah.
I thought that we were limitless.
Yeah.
What's up with we were financial freedom here. So why are you stressing out about paying for dinner? Get over it.
Yes, energetically, that's super powerful. So they say writing is actually the strongest form of focus. And when you're writing, when you're writing, you're channeling to some level, but there's a feeling that goes on. It's not just visualizing. When you're writing, there's a feeling that goes through you. And when you're writing in the present tense, that's what brings it into your now consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And then energetically it starts like this wave behind me. It starts the wave of creation because you're writing it as if you're already experiencing it. So you're putting yourself literally there. And I always say writing is like, putting your order with the universe. It's like, oh, here's my order,
Right.
Hook me up.
Absolutely. And you know what? That has actually, it's great that you bring that up because in the beginning of this year, I started journaling like religiously, morning and night. I would like wake up and put down like 2 pages or so, of affirmations, of thoughts, of visions. And then before I went to bed, I would do the same thing, and then within like 2.5 months, of doing that, I started to like really see these things start to manifest, in my world. I believe that the reason I'm talking to you right now is because of one of these journaling manifestations,
How cool.
Absolutely. Like what one of my sayings is like, that I'm surrounded by affluent, interesting people that often bring me like positive and meaningful projects.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That is like, so who do I want to be around? What kind of projects do I want to work on? Like all of these things. So I started writing it all down. And then all of a sudden there are projects coming in. My circle of friends has changed a little bit. My financial situation has changed a little bit. I sold a couple more paintings. So all of these things that were like, that I was putting in place, it started to like really appear, in my life. So it works. The difference there is, do you have the discipline,
Yes.
And the commitment to care enough about yourself that you're going to do this?
To put the time in. Yep.
Put the time in.
Yeah, it is for yourself. And also, I just want to touch back on what you were saying about writing. When you're writing as if it's already coming true, and then you have thoughts afterwards that go against it,
Mm-hmm.
That's another level of awareness for you to interrupt that identity that you don't want to be any longer. Yeah. So that's really good. That was awesome. I'm glad I caught that. What is there a favorite way of you expressing your creativity? Like right now, because I know it changes, but like right now, what is your, like you get in the flow and it just takes over? Or is there more than one thing for you?
There you go. Because I was thinking, I was like, oh man, which one is the best one?
Right?
I'm like, well, I think that they all have their moments, depending on where I am mentally.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this exchange. My bestest friend in the world was here with me for a week, and we did not shut up for literally 1 second, because of our exchange. We're in alignment, so our exchange of ideas, you continue to go back and forth, and we are creating something from that exchange, so that is my favorite. One of my favorite types of creativity, is the co-creation. And then, and then when the person has an idea and then you have an idea, and then all together now that idea has merged, and you both have like a new understanding, of this combination of idea, that synergy, that is like, I love it. I love doing that.
So I'm smiling like crazy right now because I just had a realization that you helped me manifest something wild. I talked to you the other day and your best friend was there, and thank you so much for taking time away from that situation to connect with me. But I thought, oh, that's so good, like being with your best friend in the whole world and spending time. And I thought about my childhood friend. We've been friends since kindergarten, and how much I love spending time with her, and how I really like it needs to happen. She lives in Florida. Well, just manifested yesterday that we are both going back to our hometown in Connecticut together. And we rented a little tiny lake house and a convertible. And we're going to spend a week doing what you just did with your best friend. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Zon put that in motion for me.
Isn't that awesome?
How cool is that?
You see, like, you just brought something up that is, I believe, the most interesting part, of doing what we're doing, like the ripples that we don't know that we create.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
like, I have this shirt that I created that says grateful on it.
I love that shirt.
And then it has like all the colors of the chakras in between. It kind of looks like the Friends logo, from the TV show. I hated the show, I never watched it, but it's catchy.
It's a good font. It's a good font.
Right, exactly. That's what I was like. It's applicable in this situation.
Yeah.
So I sold a bunch of them and whatever, right? And a friend of mine texted me the other day and said, hey, do you know these people? And send me a picture of 2 different people. And I didn't know them. He's like, well, what's interesting. This friend of mine had bought several shirts and gave it to some of his friends. One of his friends gave that shirt to somebody else. A stranger 3, degrees of separation from me. Yes. Now, this person is out on the bike path doing their afternoon walk and come upon somebody riding a bike wearing the exact same shirt.
Oh, I love that.
They're like, hey, do you know so-and-so, the person that gave her the shirt? And she's like, no. And she's like, well, do you know so-and-so? It's like, no. So 2 people that have been given, this gift of this shirt, because obviously somebody is grateful for them in their lives, now have connected on a random Tuesday afternoon on a bike path in Arizona wearing the same outfit. I mean,
you can't make that up.
I know, and how amazing, like, what is in it for them? Why did they meet? Why did they both make that choice today? And then what is that synchronicity, that merge of that energy that they were called together at that time and space and everything, so, and to know that somehow in there is because I made the shirt. It's just like, yes.
I get the chills. Like, that stuff gives me the chills. I'm just going to put your website up real quick, because you do t-shirts. I definitely want to look at that because I want to see which one I want. You might have to make me one special.
Absolutely.
Actually, I could see us making t-shirts together, because I've got a couple things that I've been wanting to do. And when you said you were doing screen printing and stuff like that, I was like, you know what? There's something here. So my daughter and I actually started talking about it the other night, and I was like, I think I got a guy. So
that's one of my disciplines. I've been doing apparel for 30 years.
Love it.
And it's just another tool.
And you'll do custom orders for people?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the quantity? Is it like, do you need to do a lot? Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. There's no limits. We'll figure this out. We'll get it done.
What else is on your website? Like, what is your most exciting thing that you sell?
I think that, and again, apparel and design, I do a graphic design, I do apparel manufacturing, apparel design, all of these things. And you're not going to see them on my website, because those are, but I totally love to help anyone, do those things, but that's not my passion. That is something else that I create. Sure. So what I like to do the most is create paintings and art, that have like this grit to it, this texture to it, these layers to it, and the idea is always to make individuals or to inspire individuals to, when they look at my piece, when they look at my art, to check in with themselves. I wanted to create something so bold and vibrant that literally is almost like like a visual punch in your chest that knocks your air out. You know what I mean? Like, that's the goal. I want people to like have this impact when they see it, that just knocks them out of their train of thought, like the bullshit or the story that they're telling themselves over and over, that why is it that they can't have or be, who is it that they want to be and have the things they want to have, that moment, I want them to check in with themselves and go like, am I in alignment? Am I being the person that I want to be, that I believe that I am?
And how cool is it that you are setting the intention for that behind every painting, so that when people look at your art, they're coming up with their own interpretation by what needs to be sparked within them. That is really cool.
And I embed things in the art. I write things in there. I write, affirmations. I write love messages. I write all of these things. They're illegible, however, you can feel it, or someone will feel it, because I put that intention in there. That's that idea, that go to empower, to inspire, to motivate, like be excited, wake up before the alarm clock.
Come on, people.
It's like I always say that life was meant to be awesome.
Yes.
And our only job is to step into it, act accordingly.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Life is meant to be awesome. Like that. What a motto. If you woke up every day, actually, it's funny. I just noticed my husband has a sign that I bought him a while ago, and it says, wake up and be awesome, right next to his bed. That's the first thing he sees every day. He's awesome. He's awesome. But I'm going to ask him, do you believe life is meant to be awesome? Because I think in especially looking at him and the work that he does every day, he's building houses. He's a general contractor, remodeler, and sometimes his art gets lost in the business. Like the passion for the art gets lost in the business. And keeping that alive when you're running things that are kind of stressful, I think that is the secret for people. Like what is that secret for people to get up and go and be excited about life when they're doing something that's not so exciting? Like, what advice would you give them? Because I know you kind of burned the boats and just said, you know what, I'm going to do what I need to do. That's a hard transition for people.
But, this is perfect. What you just said is like, what I do, is like I said, the graphic design, the manufacturing, all of this part, labels and packaging, I can do everything, like that part, it might not be like the most exciting thing that I do, because I can accomplish, and the challenge is not really, that profound to me, but what I've started to do is to bring my art into that place. So if I'm doing like I just got done doing packaging for a new kind of like drink, that goes there, there's like a box that rips, like this whole intricate packaging and label for the box. The whole product was developed, So I could be like, okay, I need to put this data here, I got to put that information there, the logo from back, very schematic and not very creative. Now I just took a picture of one of my paintings, extracted some of the textures and backgrounds out of it and incorporated into that design.
I love it.
So there has like all these lightning bolts and stuff there in the background of it, or the essence of them all, is part of one of my muse paintings that has like all these awesome little textures and stuff. So I merged, these two parts of me into a place that now when I'm doing this manufacturing, doing mechanical part of my work, I have that grounding, or that feeling, experience. It's like, my heart is in here now, because my art is here.
That is so brilliant. And that's one of the things that I tell people all the time. It's not either or, because they think they have to leave the job that's supporting their family to go do this thing that they're excited about. And it's like, no, how can you incorporate it into your everyday, even if you have to get up a half an hour early to find a way to express that? You don't know what that's going to turn into, So I love that you just said that, like bringing your art into that manufacturing part of it that could be considered boring or like not you, right? Like you bring your whole self to each project.
And the fun part of it is to see them out in the world then, because this painting here, there's only one of them,
Yes.
so there's only one person or their family, whatever it is, going to be able to enjoy the viewing and stuff. I mean, I'm sure I can sell prints and other shirts and stuff with that on it, but if I put this all of a sudden on a product that's mass manufactured and the world is out there using it, and the intention behind it that I wrote, that I created and everything, it is to uplift, empower, and nurture abundance upon us all. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yes. Yes. That's so good. That's so good. Awesome. All right. So there's so many good points here. I just love it. Okay. I love to share, tips for people that maybe are not living in this high frequency. Like you and I, we get, and I think that's why we get along so good, is like we get the higher frequencies and being in passion and joy and artistic expression. Like I express through writing and I express through conversation, and you express through so many different modalities. So when it comes to getting that spark back, what are some of the things that you can share with the audience of, like, what do you do when maybe you do wake up and you don't feel so excited? Because you do have moments, right? Like we have these moments. I mean, that's part of the human condition. Even though you are living life to the fullest, what do you do in those moments to kind of recalibrate yourself back into alignment? Or do you just kind of let yourself be? I kind of let myself be at this point, like just ride it out,
I believe that there's both options, like depending on why do I feel down, like I might let myself be for a minute in that place because it needs to be honored, maybe it needs to be mourned, and if we don't feel it, you don't heal it.
Totally.
And so maybe there is a time, but there's a time frame, that can't be like that for the whole day or for the whole week and whatever. It's just like, okay, I got it. Now snap out of it. Let's get back to it, kind of thing. Yeah. But I think that what has created the most impact for me, it was to be able to identify and create boundaries.
Love that. Yeah.
And I have this workshop that I developed because of that. That was so impactful to me because I've always been a giver. What I called being a giver. I'm here for you. I do anything for you. I'm here. Just tell me and I'll be there. Yeah. AKA codependent.
Overgiver. I call it an overgiver.
But and then what happened then is that I would find myself angry at situations because I would be doing things that I didn't want to do instead of what I wanted to do.
Yes.
And however, I wasn't very clear about what I wanted to do. I was just caught up in this loop of being angry because I didn't want to be doing this shit. You know what I mean?
Yes. I totally get that. Yeah. That's so what a lot of people live. So how do you get out of that? I love the art workshop too. I want to talk about that.
Yeah. So I started like seeing that, in order for me to have or to be this person that I wanted or to actually do the things that I wanted to do, I had to do them. I had to go up to the people that are around me. I had to get up half an hour earlier, and be like, okay, this is going to be my creating time, maybe, and then end up being an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes I'm up at 3:30 in the morning and I'm in here doing stuff because why not?
Why not?
Why not? You know what I mean? Why not? Right? Life is as we create it. But I think that, and from creating boundaries, so you can like really take time for yourself, like maybe you need to go for a walk every day to talk to God, like this is part of your self-care, maybe you, and working out or all of these things that, or is it meditation or is it journaling or is it just hanging out with your friend, maybe it's taking yourself out on a date, like by the moment that I really started understanding what self-love meant to me, those are the moments then I start like to give myself the compassion, and the grace, those times that I'm down to not continue to beat myself up. Yeah. Because I'm already down for a reason. Sure, I do a great job at beating myself up. Yes. Nobody does it better than me. You know what I mean? I'm like excellent at it.
Yes.
I mean, but does it serve me? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it doesn't serve me to do that when I'm down. I can use it for empowering when I'm afraid, to give you some courage so I can get out there and slay these dragons.
Right.
But it's not necessarily all of the time. But that self-love, that grace that I start to give myself, that compassion. I start to be able to create a different relationship, with my shadow self, like be able to be this bright and energetic and all of that is because I am so in tune with that dark side.
Yeah.
Because again, it goes back into this polarity, right? This balance, this yin and the yang.
Yeah.
I can't just be light all of the time if I'm not recognizing, my shadows, if I'm not grateful for my mistakes, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know any different,
Totally. Yeah.
That's that, and it's a tricky place to be too, because it's so easy to fall into self-pity and, then poor me victim mentality, when this is exactly where you gotta be, but then be kind and forgiving and know that this has happened so it can strengthen you, not defeat you.
Yes. Yeah. It's a path of discovery. And if we're not in so much resistance to the emotions and to the feelings and really releasing from that place of, okay, this is something that I'm feeling within me, and maybe it's connected to a wound, and maybe it's something I need to heal, but it's taking that path of discovery instead of being in resistance and pushing it away and not looking at it.
Right.
So how do your art workshops teach people boundaries? I'm really interested in that.
Oh, it's super fun. It's about an hour and a half long, and we can do it on Zoom. We can do it on person. And, you're going to be creating a piece of art, that through this transition, this experience that I facilitate, there's a guided meditation. I ask some really interesting questions and stuff, just to allow you to get into a place that not only you can identify what it is now that you believe that is hindering who you want to become, but also to leave you at the end with a tool, a talisman, like a symbol of that transformation, of this new place, maybe, and that piece of art that you're going to have forever, maybe, like I tell people, take a picture of it and save it as your screensaver on your phone. All of a sudden you're in a place, or you're in a meeting, or you're in an environment that you don't want to be in, or that you need courage to rise up, or you need to use your voice. There it is, man. That is your trigger. Just take a quick look right there on your screen and remember that experience. Remember what you felt during that guided meditation. Remember what you were raised, with your most favorite color. You know what I'm saying? That experience now is infused into this piece of art, that we can use it as this trigger, as this anchor, to allow us to step into this place that we all believe that we can do better, be better, teach better, love better, all of it,
That's so good. So people can contact you through your website. I'll just put that up again.
Yeah.
And you could actually get groups together and you would do that with them on Zoom. I want to come to Arizona and do that with you, with my daughters. I think that would be so
good. That would be fantastic.
As a family, we could all be together as a family. Because one of the things that I found, especially I have a couple of daughters. I mean, all of my daughters are very artistic, but I have a few that are super critical about their art, and it kind of can ruin what they're doing. So I think it would be good to kind of get through that hang up of needing perfection, or needing it to look a certain way, or judging your creativity harshly. When we do something and we get super expressive about it, and then we look at it and we get it, we don't embrace what we actually connected with. It does such a disservice, I think, even to the world, because you're putting something, everything is energy. And as we're bringing this thing into the world, it's like whatever energy you're feeling as you're creating it, and then as you look at it afterwards, is infused within that, like you just said.
Yeah.
So, so what would you say to people that are first of all, afraid to create because they're like, oh, this is the way I grew up. My art teacher actually told me that I was not artistic. So that was a belief I carried for a long time, and I don't carry it any longer. And I have painted and I have done different things. And am I an expert at it? I don't expect myself to be, because I don't practice enough of that, but I don't judge. In fact, in my room, I have a little painting that I did, and I get to see it every day, and I don't judge it harshly. I'm like, that's actually cute, Yeah.
Well,
so what would you tell people about getting out of that fear or critical expression?
People don't care.
No.
That's it. You know what I mean? People don't care about how good or bad your art is. Only you do.
So
you
true.
Know what I mean? It's just and having that freedom to mess up, to go and make a mess, to have fun, Like how is it that you can connect to that child, your inner child that grabbed crayons, finger paint, dirt, maybe an animal, and created stuff with. There was, and I mean, I have 3 children, and my youngest is the most artistic one. He's 8, and I have some of his paintings in my kitchen. My whole house has paintings everywhere. There's not a single inch available. So there's family pictures. There's only art. So I have some of his paintings in the wall. And my friend was over and she's like looking at all of those paintings and stuff and whatever. And then I had to say, oh, those are from, my youngest. Yes. It's like, oh, really? It's like she didn't even realize the difference between them and stuff. Wow. Because it's just creation. It's just art. It's not like my painting sucks or his are so developed. Right. It's like it's that ability, to just, can you go into like let go of the judgment of yourself of how you think you should look like and allow it to come through you. Yes. I believe that the illusion of control is what has hindered me the most. Yes. Because it has to look at a certain way because of all this predetermined domestication and brainwashing and stuff. And sometimes it's just like, hey, I was 7 years old and I made the best decision that I knew how to make at that time based on the feedback that I was getting from the world. And now I have this program, you know what I mean? But can that also be like overcome because you're not attached to it, because like, or maybe it's like, why are you creating? Are you creating because you want other people to judge it, or because you feel the need to express yourself in a creative manner? Totally. Get out there and dance. And all of those things are examples of this feminine energy, that is all about creativity and beauty and sensuality and stuff. Can you surrender to that without judgment of yourself for feeling that way? Boy, girl, man, women, whatever gender you classify is,
Yeah, that is such a good message. And realizing we have like 20 seconds left, but just realizing the expression that we are all creating from is the same energetic connection.
Yeah. And you deserve it.
Oh, you deserve it. And you got to go out there and make life
awesome.
I love that. Zon, you were such a good guest, and I swear I could talk to you for like days on end. I would love to have you back on the show sometime, but thank you so much for your wisdom and your courage and everything that you are providing for the world. And everyone knows how to get in touch with you. And I can't wait to keep creating with you.
Awesome. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks, Zon. All right. I'll peace out, everybody. That was a great show.
Bye.